I've been so busy. I've got too many hobbies. Skateboarding, bikes. Been doing a lot of things with all my bikes recently. Kids' bikes, my bikes, I bought a Brompton. First weekend for a while. I haven't been busy with other things. I've been down in Cornwall surfing. Bob the Morris Miner is fine, use him quite a lot. But I have been doing some fiddling and upgrading with the Sinclair C5. There were a couple of things that really were seriously annoying me with this thing. One is the chain tension, it always kept falling off, which is very annoying. I did buy a new spring for it, a tighter spring, that didn't seem to solve the problem. And I realised in the end, well, I needed to change the chain because the chain was so slack and sloppy. It had never been changed, I don't think. And so this is a brand new chain from Sinclair C5 depot. And that solved the problem. So it's really tight now. And when you're pedaling along, it really feels very good. Upgrades I've done before are the Big Apple wheels. I've still got the original wheels, but these are a bit sort of fatter and give you a bit more suspension. And my well, it's a lithium iron phosphate battery. I know I get it wrong in the other video, but I didn't know everything about lithium batteries back then. A LifePo battery. It was just a really small, compact one, but it does a good job. I don't go 20 miles in this thing every day. And then the big one I've just done is this, which is the John Webster disc brake upgrade for the rear. I like to keep this C5 as original as possible. That's just the way I am. But the drum brakes on this rear wheel, which were the original design, were just really finding them very annoying. What you'd have before was this fitted into the wheel like that. This isn't a disc, this is a heat sink in case this gets hot and sort of melts the wheel. So it's just meant to radiate the heat from the drum brakes out. And then you'd have the shoes here that would push out into the drum and lock it in. So it took me about a day to fit these. There are other videos on the internet showing you how to do this from C5 experts like Paul Grice. I am a total incompetent. I did manage to do it, but there are a couple of things that aren't in other videos that I thought is worth mentioning. So this plastic thing here, I suppose you'd call it an axle mount or axle bearing, but you have to unbolt it and take this off and then reverse it. So before it was round the other way, so this disc-like bit was facing that way, and that upper bolt was over here and this lower bolt was over here. To fit this disc brake kit, you have to take that off and put it back on, reverse it the other way round, which wasn't too difficult. Getting this stuff off was actually fine. The major adjustment that the kit needed was to drill holes into the wheel, and this was the bit I was most scared of, and it turned out to be, well, not so much drilling the holes. You can use this thing here that comes with the kit, but it's not, it doesn't go on the C5, it's just to help you guide where those holes are going to be. And I was worried about getting them in precisely the right place, but that wasn't the problem actually. What I ended up doing is making them a bit bigger actually, because the problem is, you see these nuts are very difficult to get into the spokes, so to actually get these on the bolts, that was very frustrating and took me a long time to do. That was not easy, but once they were in, they're very, very tight. So I actually drilled the holes that these bolts go through a little bit bigger, so you know the precision of exactly where those bolt holes go isn't really the problem. It's actually getting these nuts in, so a little bit of you know, slack or space around those bolt holes, slightly larger bolt holes, will actually help you get that in. And it was a bit of adjustment here, but not, it's quite easy to adjust actually. When you sort of loosen these little bolts here, and you can sort of wiggle the pads around here to get it lined up. You can just sort of test the wheel by spinning it. A downside of this is if you want to get this wheel off, it's going to be a lot harder, because you'll have to undo these brakes here in order to free the disc so you can get the wheel off. Now I'm often having to take this wheel off, but that's because the drum brakes was needing constant attention. If they get any sort of dirt in there, they become very grabby, and I was always having to get the wheel off and adjust them and clean them, and it was really getting very annoying. And even then they would still sort of grab, and the whole wheel locks up and it makes an awful noise. So I was finding that very annoying. So what I hope now is with the disc brakes that is going to happen less often, but we'll see. I'm just going to test them out now. Going well. Test it now. It's good. It's not too severe. So yeah, I'm happy with the disc brakes. What surprises me is they're not actually spectacularly different from the drum brakes. If the drum brakes were well set up, these feel very similar to the drum brakes in terms of, yeah, it's a progressive braking. But I'm hoping that actually they're going to be less problematic in terms of keeping them clean and not locking up so much, because I was constantly having to get this wheel off. The other good thing about them is they do, I must say, look quite cool. So I'm going to leave the hubcaps off for a while, just to give the C5 a bit of a different look. So I might use it for going to work a bit in the summer now. It's all done, and I'll see how those disc brakes go. But you can always put the drum brakes back on, although you know it did take me all day to kind of fit those, so I'm not going to be doing that in a hurry. So here we go, Sinclair C5. Ready to go again. Cheers.